This is the truth and nothing but the truth. Hello, everyone. Before the era of open space offices, we, the creatives, were kept in small boxes for our own good, but also to protect clients from too much illogical thinking. As you see, back then, computers hadn't been invented, nor had Windows. 15 years after this picture was taken, I became CEO of that company. And I got invited to the global management meeting in New York. New York turned out to be a conference room without windows again. As a new kid on the block, I was placed in the first row next to Mr. Big. So Mr. Big opened the meeting and impressive-looking charts appeared on the wall. Click, numbers. Click, numbers. Click, numbers. Felt like a good time to make my move. Frank, you have a question. I have an idea. The greatest minds of our company are all in this room. What if we get our heads together and create something fresh and valuable instead of looking at numbers? 60 seconds of absolute silence. Then Mr. Big said, "Are you serious?" and went on without waiting for my answer. The next morning, I was placed in row 20. Are you serious? He's right. Business is serious stuff. Look at it. The conference room, the charts, even the faces. And these serious people got our world into serious trouble. That's why the world needs us, the creatives. So please, let's talk about some serious stuff. God, annual performance reviews, the platypus, and Spock. Are you ready? Good. Then, when did creativity got thrown under the bus? Honestly, it started before my New York meeting. 2,500 years before, to be precise. Plato and Aristotle founded the world's first university and brought logic and ratio into our lives. And thanks to logic, the unthinkable became thinkable. And the world grew wings. And the logic grew overconfident. Ratio became ultima ratio, the one and only decision maker for everything. That's why actually all the engineers and the lawyers and the finance guys occupy the executive seats in every company, in every industry. I am serious. That's why logic made all the rules and systematically crowding creativity out of business life. What a mistake. That's the ultimate human gift. 8 million species live on this planet. One of them can change the world toward their ideas. It's us, the creative. What a gift, creativity. And what do we do with it? We put it in the back of the class. The front row is reserved for the nerds and the overachievers. Math, science, languages. I have 3 kids. Very intelligent, as you can imagine. But I quite spent a fortune in private lessons, never for needlework. The world got obsessed with logic. That's why we actually brought logic's little sister into the world, efficiency. One day, her father, Frederick Winslow Taylor, appeared at the Ford factory with a stopwatch and a new concept, the analysis. So let's take the whole production process, break it down into the smallest parts, and my stopwatch and I optimize it detail by detail by detail. This had 2 major effects. Productivity skyrocketed to 300%, and independent thinking was abolished. Every employee from that on got precise instructions what to do and what not. Curiosity and intuition were sent home, never to be seen again. Wow, that's a problem. But it made companies more efficient. And they actually got into the efficiency trap. The product itself got smaller, faster, more profitable. But they never came up with anything new. Mercedes, 130 years on, still builds a car. And we are still disciples of analysis and optimization. Take the performance review. Millions of managers all around the globe cling to it. Strangely enough, not in private life. I wonder why. So let's imagine, Adana, you're having this wonderful candlelight dinner. It's your wedding anniversary. So your husband is sitting there happily petting his new socks he always dreamt of as you put this file on the table. Oh, what is it? Honey, the yearly performance review. Let's be professional. I got here some 360 feedback for you. Your in-laws, your ex-wife, your boss, the guys from the golf club, the urologist, and your kids. I'll be honest, there's room for improvement. Here are the benchmarks. Yeah, SPW. Yes, SPW means sex per week, my dear. The net promoter score of the kids, have you seen it? You have to be much more ambitious. So I see potential in you, my dear. That's why I raised the target. Sign bottom right, and you will see in a year from now, you are much happier being married to me. Don't try this at home. In private life, efficiency is called the end. So this is why God needs help. And we have to come up with something new and fresh, the creatives. Who of you had an idea in his life at some point? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. So how big is the difference among all the 8 billion of us? This genetic difference is 0.1%. And what do we do with it? We make it even smaller. So every child in the world learns how to draw a house the same way. And once they've learned how a house looks like, they never can imagine it any other way. That's a tragedy. Because bit by bit, creative thinking vanishes from our life and from our thinking. And that became a huge problem. Because in every industry, with every product, we just look at it through the lens of logic. It's like having a GPS with just one route. Yeah, it's the shortest one, yes, but if everyone takes it, you're still stuck in a traffic jam. Have you ever noticed we have 2 hemispheres? Maybe there's a reason why. Who actually decided to cut one half of our brain off? I know a few people who have both sides. And if you use it, you come up with maybe twice as much possibilities. That's logical. So just being stuck to half of your brain means Martin Luther King would probably have said, I have a transformation plan. And the effect may be disappointing. So if you use the small difference in perspective, that can mean a huge difference in outcome, even in primary school. My youngest son was in first grade. So winter was around the corner, and with it comes a lantern exhibition. Very important. So excited children, proud parent, the door of the church opens, 122 lanterns. There is the moon and the suns and the flowers and the fish and the colorful unicorns, and that's mine, Dad, this shapeless brown blob. I started to panic. I'm a creative, I have a reputation to lose. A blob. What is it? It's a loaf of bread. A bread? I fathered a genius. Of course, the bread's a gift of sharing. What has a unicorn to do with Christmas? Nothing. A bread. A few weeks ago, I met his teacher. She's probably seen thousands, maybe millions of lanterns, and one she will never forget. So open the eyes and the minds to find an unseen perspective. That's creativity. Can you imagine that God is one of us, a creative being? Actually, God brought something original of value into the world. That's the definition of creativity. Let's help God. Can we imagine how the world would look like if God were a controller instead? Maybe she or he wouldn't send miracles, but an email. Bing! Oh, shape your destiny, an important message from the founder. Do you want to hear it? Okay. Dear humankind, I'm sure it hasn't escaped your attention, but our company, the Earth, is in a bad situation. We had to rethink the entire business model and cut stuff up to 25%. 2 billion people have to leave Earth end of the month. Our customer experience centers report a dramatic decrease in traffic, so we will close them all, with the exception of our flagship store in Rome. And due to paper costs, our corporate brochure, the Bible, will no longer be printed. You find it now at wikipedia.com. My chief of staff, Peter, will follow up with more detailed information. God. A global CEO of the earth, the universe, and everything. Woo! Thanks heaven, God is not believing in efficiency programs. What is the lecture? The lecture is leadership is not about cutting costs. It's about creating value. And this is where we come into play. Because we can create things that were never thought of before. Let's create something new and fresh and exciting. So, imagine when we find a different perspective to it, and even in our life when we talk the important things, the kids, your job, your husband maybe. They were never brought to you by Professor Logic. Normally, they come by Dr. Chance. Even in business, we all know the story of Viagra. Do you remember? So the best things in life come and need luck. And maybe they need anger as well. George Crumb was a renowned chef of a New York restaurant called The Moon. And he was going to explode because a customer sent his meal back to the kitchen, the richest man of the world, Cornelius Vanderbilt. The potatoes were too thick. So Crumb was on to revenge. He sliced them as thin as they could be, fried them so they couldn't be eaten with a fork, oversalted them on purpose and served them with a smile. Mr. Vanderbilt took a bite, and the crisp was invented, America's national food. Each of them devours 9 kilos a year. It's a $30 billion market. You can't make this stuff up. So, what does it mean? It means when logic and sense come to their wits' end, the nonsense can still go a step further, even in health service. Unlogical but very effectful, red pills work better than white ones. Bitter drops work better than sweet ones. The main reason why people feel ill, the package leaflet. Have you ever seen one? They read like a death certificate. So put some creativity in there and the millions of people will feel better tomorrow. Creativity is when magic overtakes efficiency. And creativity can make the whole world feel better. That's probably why the orchestra conductors live longer than any other profession in the world. Alive in creativity and the pleasure of imposing your will on others with a stick. The World Health Organization showed the effects of the pandemic and the war on our mental health. It's getting more dramatic than ever. 1 billion people suffer from depression and anxiety. Why? Because the problems are growing and growing and we feel helpless and defenseless. Creativity can be the magic pill. Why? It's this inner belief that I literally find a way out every time that makes you feel better. It's the experience that I literally can do something that makes you more resilient than John McClane in Die Hard and 1 and 2 together. And it can do more. It can make problems disappear in seconds. Years ago, this busy week, do you remember? I was trying to relax in the garden, but the digger outside tearing up the road had different plans on the weekend. So, hell-bent on picking up this fight, I charged down the driveway as I saw my 3-year-old gazing at this mechanical marvel. 2 minutes later, I was back with apple juice and biscuits. The operator waved to us, gave us a great show, and an hour flew by. 20 years later, it still is a great father and son moment. So from a creative standpoint, the problem isn't always a problem. Most of the time, it's the way we view it. And creativity can free us from our blindness, can open us to new, unexpected perspectives. Humanity can avoid enormous stomach aches and stress hormones just by looking at the world with an open and creative mind. But therein lies a problem. The world and the things got so complicated. We can't even imagine them anymore. For the first time in history, technology has overtaken imagination. In former times, Jules Verne looked in the sky and thought, oh, I can imagine how it is to go to the moon, and at some point we made it happen. Today, quantum computing, cryptocurrency, CRISPR are already in operation, and we have no clue how any of this works. And this is the problem, because you can't take people on a journey if you can't give them an idea how the promised land looks like. It was the image of the glittering gold that actually triggered the Klondike gold rush. The American dream, from dishwasher to millionaire, made millions of people cross the Atlantic. And the German Wirtschaftswunder was driven by the image of, let's have a better everyday life and a new telly. If we can't imagine it, we can't do it. It's that simple. That means one thing: power to the creatives. So, God is one of us, and he or she made us in their image, a creative being, the only one in the universe as far as we can tell. And creativity can do a lot of things. It's a divine gift. It can help us find unexpected solutions, solve problems in seconds, feel better, live longer, and make our blue planet still green. You've probably gazed into the future and seen Starship Enterprise. Then you know, logic never makes it beyond first officer. Sorry, Mr. Spock. It's always the creative spirit to become Captain Kirk. It's always the creatives who come up with an idea to save the planet. That's an unwritten law in the universe. I'm serious. So, what more do you need? God is one of us. Make creativity the driving spirit in education, economy, life, in everything we do. And by doing it, save yourself and the rest of the planet. So now it's time. Get out of the little box and take our place on the command deck. I'm serious. So, Scotty, please beam us up. Thank you very much.